Greetings everyone, my name is Dr. Jason Freeman. I'd like to welcome you all to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to review episode 2 of season 14 of Doctor Who, titled The Devil's Chord. Now I have a full reaction to this episode on my Patreon. To see that, please click the link in the description box below. Alright, so what did I like about the episode? Well, first and foremost, I love the musical elements of the episode. Of course, that last part at the end, you know, it's always a twist at the end. That was really cool.
There's always a twist, there's always a twist, there's always a twist at the end. There's always a twist, there's always a twist, there's always a twist at the end. Pretend descendants into them, cause there's always a twist at the end.
Unexpected. I mean, it's one of those like unexpected things that, you know, we know that there's a lot more kind of zaniness and musicality in the season, you know, with the opening, the pilot, this Christmas episode, The Church on Ruby Road. And so, you know, that was a musical, and so this is also another musical episode, so that was awesome. At the very end, also the singing from Ruby Sunday. She has a beautiful voice. We didn't really hear the Doctor as much. I guess I think it was at the very end with the always a twist at the end. But for the most part, you know, he didn't sing. But overall, great musical episode. I'm a huge Beatles fan, so having the Beatles in there, or you know, the Beatles, you know, people playing the Beatles in this episode, but having those elements were really good. So I really enjoyed the musicality, and I really hope to see more of that throughout the rest of, you know, the seasons with this particular Doctor Who. The second thing I liked about the episode is I felt like the villain was menacing, especially when the Doctor kind of sold the idea that he couldn't fight this particular villain. And so once the Doctor kind of, you know, seemed out of his depth, seemed afraid, that's when it really sold the villain. So the villain, I mean, I'll talk about some of the things I don't like about this particular villain, Maestro. But in particular, one thing, the villain did seem menacing when it came to the Doctor, when it came to various people. Like, for example, there was an older lady who starts to play music, and then kind of like Pennywise, Maestro comes out of the piano and kind of goes on a rampage or whatever. You don't really see it. But yeah, so I would say Maestro seemed very menacing, very powerful throughout this episode, and I think the story really sold. Essentially, Maestro as this powerful god that is essentially, you know, potentially destroying the entire universe. And I guess the third thing I liked about the episode was the comedy. At the very beginning, when, you know, Ruby Sunday and the Doctor show up and they start to hear the versions of the songs in this world where music has essentially been taken away, their expressions, I just laughed. They were really funny. And it wasn't even just the Doctor. So, you know, I was kind of looking at both of them, and so like Ruby her face was kind of countenance kind of fell, and the Doctor fell, and they both really sell it. So that's the one thing I do like about, especially this duo. They're not afraid to have fun. They're not afraid to kind of make fun of themselves and make fun of the situation. So that was definitely a plus, to kind of see that comedy throughout the episode. And even at the very end, when the wink and the nod with the Doctor, always a twist in the end, that's again a bit of comedy as well. So I love the comedic elements of this particular episode and the season as a whole. So what didn't I like? Well, the main thing I did not like was I felt Maestro was over the top a lot. It wasn't even just that, you know, there were, you know, moments where the Maestro, almost like the Joker in Batman, kind of goes a little crazy. From beginning to the end, Maestro is overselling, overacting. And so I get that's what they wanted for this character, but I felt like, you know, I even like Pennywise. Again, I use Pennywise because of the makeup and the aspect of this kind of scary, malevolent force. Even Pennywise has moments of being kind of over the top, but also kind of just being scary, just kind of being you know, kind of frozen countenance, almost like just a monster. And we didn't really get that at all. It's like even when it went silent at one point, I felt like Maestro was still kind of selling the over the top type elements. Even during that moment. So that's one thing. I think if they a better approach would have been more like, again, like a Pennywise, where basically Maestro is like over the top, and then when it comes down to this is our, we're going to deal with, I'm going to take out the doctor, gets more serious and kind of almost like this is a god. This is not just a silly character. This is a god who is very dangerous. And I guess the third thing I liked about the episode was the comedy. At the very beginning, when Ruby Sunday and the Doctor show up and they start to hear the kind of the versions of the songs in this world where music has essentially been taken away, their expressions, I just laughed. They were really funny, and it wasn't even just the Doctor. So I was kind of looking at both of them, and so like Ruby kind of had her face was kind of countenance kind of fell, and the Doctor fell, and they both really sell it. So that's the one thing I do like about, especially this duo. They're not afraid to have fun. They're not afraid to kind of make fun of themselves and make fun of the situation. So that was definitely a plus to kind of see that comedy throughout the episode, and even at the very end when the kind of the wink and the nod with the Doctor, always a twist in the end. That's again a bit of comedy as well. So I love the comedic elements of this particular episode and the season as a whole. And so the second thing I did not like about this episode was, and something I saw in the previous episode as well. Towards the end, there was this music fight that was kind of done almost, I guess, kind of, I don't know, to add a little extra element to the show. And I felt like it slowed down what was going on. So you had this showdown between the Doctor and Maestro, and now we're going to do a music fight, which is kind of this silly thing. And it's like, I felt like it took away. Like, if we took that out of the episode, I think the pacing would have been a little bit better. It just kind of stopped things for a moment. And so we saw the same thing with the snowfall and the memory in the last episode, where it just kind of stops and does this new thing. And I felt like, I mean, it's fine to do this. Just let's not just stop in the middle of this ongoing action to do this thing. I don't know. I just felt like it didn't really add to the episode and kind of just stopped things for a bit. This kind of silly musical fight, and then you get the very end where Maestro's finally defeated, but the musical fight, I guess, felt like extra and just didn't really work for me. Alright, so if you found that review interesting and or informative, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, please share this video. And if there are other shows you want me to review, please leave those suggestions in the comment section below. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful rest of your day.